The creator economy is worth $250 billion. There are 207 million active creators worldwide, and more than half of them earn under $15,000 a year. I want you to sit with those three numbers for a second, because they should not be able to exist at the same time. A $250 billion industry, 200 million creators, and the majority earning less than a part-time job. That is not a coincidence. That is not a distribution problem waiting to be solved by the next platform update or the next viral moment or the right coaching program. That is the architecture of an industry that was never designed to share its wealth broadly. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how that architecture works, where the money actually goes, why the middle gets left out every single time, and what changes the moment you understand the structure you're actually operating inside. I'm Lorraine. This is Watch Me Build Social. Let's get into it. Let me lay out the math plainly. 250 billion. That is the current size of the creator economy, growing at over 22% annually, faster than almost any industry on earth. 207 million active creators. That is not a niche market. That is a global workforce. And yet, only 4% of those creators earn over $100,000 a year. More than 50% earn under $15,000. So we have a $250 billion industry, and 96% of the people building it are earning less than $100,000 annually. That gap between the size of the industry and the reality of most creators inside it is what I call the 250 billion paradox. And here's the question that nobody in this industry wants to answer directly. Where does the money go? Because it's not going to the 207 million creators. It's not being distributed across the ecosystem. It's concentrating at the top, faster every year. One industry report put it plainly. Creator compensation isn't rising or falling. It's polarizing. The top is pulling further away. The middle is being squeezed harder. And the distance between those two groups is growing every single year. The 250 billion number goes up. The mid-tier creators' share of it goes down. Both things are true at the same time. I want to describe something to you that I think you're going to recognize immediately. Think about the content that exists right now for creators. On one end, beginner content. How to start your channel, what equipment to buy, how to get your first 1,000 subscribers, how to find your niche. Every platform, every YouTube search, every creator education account is flooded with content for the person who hasn't started yet or just started. On the other end, elite coaching, high-ticket programs, masterminds, inner circles, access to the framework that took someone from zero to millions. Premium priced, premium positioned, built for the creator who is ready to invest significantly in the next level. And in the middle, almost nothing. The creator who's been building for years, who has real audience, real engagement, real proof that what they're doing is working, who is past the beginner stage, but not yet at the level where the elite coaching was designed to take them. That creator is the middle child of the creator economy. Everyone knows they exist. Nobody built anything specifically for them. The beginner gets the starter course. The aspiring elite gets the high-ticket coaching. And the mid-tier creator, the one who already showed up, already did the work, already proved they're not a quitter, looks around and realizes the entire industry is talking around them and never directly to them. That is not an accident, but it's also not malice. It's math. I want you to think about gym memberships in January. Every year, the same thing happens. The new year hits, resolutions are made, gym memberships spike, the equipment is packed, the classes are full, the energy is real. And by March, most of those people are gone. Gyms know this. They count on it. The business model depends on it. If every single person who bought a membership showed up every single day, the gym would run out of space, equipment, and staff within a week. The model only works because most people don't follow through. That is not cynical. That is the architecture of the business. And the course industry in the creator economy runs the exact same model. Sell to the aspiration. Don't depend on the success. The aspiration is real. The desire to build something meaningful, to grow an audience, to earn from that content you actually care about. That is a genuine human drive. And the beginner course meets that drive at exactly the right moment. The spark is there. The energy is there. The vision is there. But the follow-through? Studies consistently show that most people who buy online courses never finish them. Most people who start creating content quit within the first few months when the growth doesn't come as fast as the dream suggested it would. And here is the uncomfortable truth about what that means economically. The course doesn't need everyone to succeed. It needs everyone to buy. The business model is built on volume of aspiration, not volume of results. And the beginner who quits doesn't become a failure story. They become next year's customer. When they get re-inspired, try again, and need another starting point. Now think about who the mid-tier creator is in this model. They're the anomaly, the one who didn't quit when it got hard, the one who kept showing up when the algorithm changed and the views dropped and the growth stalled, the one who built a real audience through actual consistency over the years. The mid-tier creator is the person who actually followed through, and the industry, which built its course revenue on the people who don't follow through, has almost nothing designed specifically for the person who did, because the person who followed through doesn't need a starter course, and they can't yet access the elite level. And nobody has had enough financial incentive to build for exactly where they are, until now. Let's bring this whole argument into focus. In the high-ticket coaching program I was approached about, the document that outlined the framework, the testimonials, the investment, there was a no refund policy. And I want to be honest about this, because I understand why it exists. And understanding why it exists is actually more uncomfortable than being angry about it. Here's the logic. The framework is proven. Look at the results. Look at the testimonials. The system works. For the people who follow it. If you don't get results, the variable is your follow-through, not the framework. And you can't ask for a refund on your own follow-through. That logic is airtight, and it's intellectually honest. But here's what it leaves out. What if the framework was never designed for your specific problem? What if you were at the wrong stage, past the problems the framework was built to solve, not yet at the ceiling it was built to break through? What if your follow-through was perfect, but the solution was built for a different ceiling than the one you're actually hitting? The no refund policy doesn't account for it. It only accounts for follow-through, and the industry has no system for telling you before you invest whether the program is actually designed for your specific ceiling, because telling you that would mean losing the sale. Think about asking your gym for a refund. I trained every day. I followed the program exactly, but I didn't get the results the marketing showed me. The gym would say, our equipment works, our classes work, our trainers work, the variable is you. And they might be right, but the marketing sold you a transformation, not a transaction. And the no refund policy protects the seller from the gap between what was promised and what was possible for your specific situation. That is not a scam, but it is a mismatch. And the mid-tier creator pays for that mismatch every single time. I want to be clear about something before we go further. I'm not saying the people running these programs are dishonest. I'm not saying the frameworks don't work. I'm not saying the industry set out to leave the mid-tier creator behind. Nobody decided the mid-tier creator didn't deserve resources. Nobody sat in a boardroom and said, let's ignore the middle. But when you follow the money, the beginner buys the starter course, the elite sells the coaching, the mid-tier creator sits between two revenue streams that have no financial reason to serve them specifically. The result is the same as if someone had planned it. The middle falls through the cracks, not by accident, not by malice, by math. And here is the most important thing I can tell you about that math. I'm living it right now. Not as a framework I developed from the outside looking in, as a creator with a real audience across 4 platforms, who left an 18-year career to build something, who's doing the work every single day, and who looked around at everything the industry offered and realized that almost none of it was built for where I actually am. That is why Watch Me Build Social exists. Not because I figured out the answer, but because I couldn't find the resource that was asking the right question. The right question isn't how do I start? I already started. The right question isn't how do I reach elite scale by buying into an elite framework? I'm not there yet. The right question is, what are the specific structural decisions that close the gap between where I am and where I'm trying to go? Built specifically for the creator who already showed up, already proved their consistency, and is ready to build with the right architecture. That resource didn't exist, so I'm building it in public, in real time. Watch me. Here's what shifts the moment you understand this structure. You stop taking the gap personally. The reason the math hasn't added up isn't because you're not talented enough. It's because the industry's revenue model was never built around the people who follow through. It was built around the people who don't. The person who builds a real audience and hits a real ceiling falls outside the primary revenue model of both the beginner course market and the elite coaching market. It's a structural problem, not a personal one, and structural problems have structural solutions. The mid-tier creator who understands the architecture stops trying to win a game designed for a different player and starts building what the architecture never handed them: the positioning, the infrastructure, the category ownership that closes the gap from the inside. That is the amplification gap stated plainly. Not a talent gap, not an effort gap, a structural gap, created and sustained by an industry whose financial incentives never required it to close. And closing it is exactly what this channel is documenting. The next time you see a headline about the creator economy being worth $250 billion, ask one question: where is the money going? Because the answer to that question is the map. And right now, the map shows money concentrating at the top. Beginner content flooding the entry point, high-ticket coaching serving the aspiration, and a mid-tier creator standing in the middle of all of it, doing the real work, with no resource built specifically for the ceiling they're actually hitting. That is the paradox, and naming it is the first step to solving it. Subscribe to this channel, because every video from here is a specific structural solution to a specific dimension of that gap, documented in real time, with every decision made visible and every result reported honestly. Hit the notification bell, and if this video named something you've been feeling but couldn't articulate, share it. Send it to the creator in your life who has been doing everything right and still can't figure out why the math isn't mathing. Now they know. I'm Lorraine. This is Watch Me Build Social. Watch me.